This episode is brought to you with the help from Newbelity. Newbelity is your go-to IT partner offering tailored solutions in talent acquisition, infrastructure support, network reliability, and cutting-edge AI. We help you stay ahead by turning technology into a strategic advantage for your business. Newbelity, turning your challenges into powerful opportunities.
All right. Well, welcome to the Viking Press Pass. I'm Matthew Nickel, and this is the first VMIX software production. So looking forward to that. And I'm the voice of Augustana football. And joining me today, Darren Oregon, defensive back here for the Vikings. So Darren, thanks for joining me.
Of course, thanks for having me.
So Darren, for those watching, do a little introduction about yourself and tell folks kind of who you are.
Absolutely. So I'm Darren Oregon. I'm a junior, play defensive back, cornerback, and my major is graphic design and computer science.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting into that and understanding kind of why you chose that path. So,
hmm
but you're from Aurora, Illinois, and went to
Yep.
Oswego East. So what brought you to Augie?
So what brought me to Augie is the brotherhood. When my recruiter, Dave Ragone, he took me on like 3 or 4 visits, and I actually went to an Augustana game. It was against Elmhurst here at home, and I just liked the atmosphere. I liked the it had my major, and I just liked the brotherhood on the team. And I had an overnight visit too, and that was good too. So that's what brought me here.
Nice. Well, good choice. We're lucky to have you. So we're in week 5 of the season. The Vikings are 2-1 so far on the year. This week is homecoming. It's family weekend, so the campus is going to be full of family and friends. But before we kind of get into that, let's talk a little bit about the Millikin game. So Vikings came away with a win, but what were maybe just some of your thoughts as you've been kind of downloading on last Saturday's game?
Yeah, so we came up with the dub. A lot of people thought we were gonna win by more, but we got it with the dub. That was cool. But I feel like we should have won more, in my opinion. Defensively, I mean, I think the problem with ours were like technique wise, including myself. So like technique wise, eyes and tackling. So tackling has been a big part of our program. We've been talking about tackling since like last spring and in the fall and even the summer. So I feel like if we focus on tackling more and just doing what we do, then we will become more successful in those games.
Well, I mean, you finished with 5 tackles. You had 2 pass
Mhm.
breakups and that late interception pretty much all but sealed the game. Can you walk me through kind of that late interception and like what were you seeing and the ball and the reaction and all that?
Yeah, so late in the game, we were up 24-20, I believe. Yeah, and we just needed to like stop them. We needed to stop them from scoring a touchdown. We need to stop like limit those explosive plays. And I remember Johnny Breeden telling me the coverage and the snap of the ball, and I saw that ball go up in the air, and I wanted to attack the ball. Coach Krier stresses me attacking the ball a lot, and I need to do that more. But I saw the ball in the air and I wanted to make a play and I got the interception. And that was a big momentum changer too, because turnovers are always good to have.
Man, and exactly. I mean, I remember the interception you had last year, at Wash U. I mean, that was, right out of the gate. I mean, the defense was playing hard,
Totally.
and you had a real nice pick. And so we'll talk a little about last year too. But as we look ahead to like this week, I mean, what are you expecting to see from North Park and Matt Eck and his receiving core?
Yeah, North Park, I mean, they were undefeated till last week, so they're a pretty good team. And Matt Eck, their quarterback, I think he threw for like 460 some yards last week, and even with their loss. And they have one of the top 2 receivers in the conference right now, especially like in yards per se. And we've been focused on that a lot this week. During our scout team, we be having players using number 1 or number 3 because we know those are like their main star receivers. And looking forward to the game. Like I said earlier, we just need to just do our little things, focus on the little things, our technique, our eyes, and our tackling. And if we just do what we do, and we will come out with the W. But North Park, they're a good team. They're a good team, so we
You know,
cannot
and
overlook.
I agree, man. I mean, Kyle Rooker and that team, he's really got them. They're playing a lot better. I think it's his sixth season with them. Um, so I mean, he's doing well and kind of building that program up, and it's been a long road for him. And I know like Matt Eck, he's the last 2,000-yard passer since like T.D. Conway did in like the 2013 to 2015. So yeah, you talked about Jeremy Mbongo. I mean, he's got 342 and some touchdowns. Wesley McLeod is another one. So 1 and 3. That's your
Yeah.
key. That's your key.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so last week, on the Viking press pass with Johnny Breeden, I asked him to give me some perspective on playing, secondary in the CCIW. And on this defense, can you provide maybe some insight around like what makes it unique, or for a cornerback, kind of within this defense? Like, what's your role? What's your responsibilities? And how do things change kind of in the secondary because that cornerback position?
Yeah, so as a corner, playing in the secondary, as far as corner, it's like a mind game because you never know if the quarterback is gonna throw to you. You never know what's going on, so you just gotta like stay disciplined. And in our scheme, it's all about communication. So like recognizing the formations, even if we don't call out the formations, just recognizing the formations, calling a nub, calling reverse, just communicating like well. But as a corner, for me, it's just all about eyes and just trusting your technique and having what you have in your toolbox.
And you're generally right, the field side corner. So, you got Braden, Hoochin, or Caden Shaw that are really on that boundary side. So, you know, to the average viewer, I mean, they may not know much of a difference of how
Mhm.
those roles can change substantially based on being field side or boundary side. How would you describe, how those roles kind of change based on boundary corner versus like a field corner?
Yeah, so as a boundary corner, you you don't gotta like necessarily be as type. You gotta be more tighter because it happens so fast. So like the boundary side is to the short side of the field, so you're gonna like get get tested a lot per se, but it just happens so fast. And then the field side, you can like see more, like you can like see like not the whole entire field, but like since we're angled, you can see part of the field. So it doesn't happen so fast, and you also have like people like to help you. Not to say like the boundary side you don't have people to help you, but the field
Hmm.
side it's like more wider, so you can like play like not loose a little bit, but kind of loose. But in the boundary, you gotta like recognize, okay, this is the shorter side of the field, and this is where people are gonna test you a lot. So like that's like the main difference.
You get a lot of one-on-ones,
Oh yeah, a lot of one.
so but then you go to the field side. It's like you may deal with pulling linemen, tight ends
Mm-hmm.
coming out,
Yep.
the receiver trying to block you while you've got the lead back coming through. So so again, it's a completely different game. When you get
Mm-hmm.
over to that side. And do you like what kind of play do you like? Do you like to be physical, play tight? Like what's kind of your style? Like I was a big fan when I played. I was basically in a bail technique, and I wanted to come back to the ball. Because I wasn't the fastest. So, how do you like to play, or what kind of game do you like to see the game kind of evolve through, or throughout that time?
Yeah, I feel like for me, going back from last year, I wasn't really that much of a physical corner or like boundary or field, but I think this year I implemented like being more physical, putting my like hands on the receiver and making them not go anywhere. But I'm more of a like change up my technique. So like either if it's glide, press bail, or scooch, or press or catch man. So I'm more of a change the technique guy, and then when I get to my technique before the receiver, and like that's like automatic 100% because now I can control your route, and now it's just like just play football.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you do it well. You do it well.
Thank you.
So, Coach Krier, what's his leadership style kind of like?
Coach Krier's leadership style, it's pretty. He's pretty vocal. He breaks down film a lot. He gives us what we need, and on the field, he's pretty vocal too. He'll like change up the coverage, or when we go off the sidelines, he'll like tell hey, Do or whoever's out in the corner, you're playing too loose or you're playing too far, like kind of like challenging a little bit. So he loves to give us that type of feedback, and he loves to like, and he'll get up in your grill if he feels like it. Like he'll tell you what he needs to know or what you need to know and what you want to do or what you need to do.
What type of like expectations does he like to set? Kind of for the secondary. Like, what are some of his maybe like non-negotiables? Playing in the secondary.
Yeah, so some of his like non-negotiables is just eyes. So like he talks about eyes, like getting your eyes off the QB, getting your eyes off the like during scramble, like get your eyes off the QB and get it to the receiver. But a lot of his non-negotiables is just discipline. It all comes down to discipline and just um like what is your plan before the ball is snapped? What's your plan? Like, are you gonna like what technique are you gonna use?
Hmm.
So he's more of a like, what's your plan? And then when you know your plan, now you finish your plan and go play football.
So, do you really choose then the technique you want to run with based on the coverage then?
Um, yeah, kind of. If we're like more in like a man technique, then I'll like kind of switch up our like technique, catch man, scooch, and all that. But if we're like in like a cover three per se, then I'll just stay in my glide. But it just all depends on like what formation they're in
Yeah.
and what technique I want to use to make myself successful.
Well, and it's good. I mean, you think about, scouting, you never want to be running the same technique for,
Yeah.
every coverage and become a tip.
Hmm.
So it's like, so you got to play with that, right?
Hmm.
Shade inside a little bit, even though you're going to maybe bail quick and you want to get outside and press them in. Like, there's a lot that really happens, out there in the corner department. Man, you can be left on an island real quick,
Hmm. Yeah.
real quick. Um, so last year, you and Nick Harper, second team, honors at cornerback. You both combined for 10 interceptions. There's a lot here, by the way. Harper led the CCIW with 6. You were tied, with second with 4. After the Isthmus Bowl game, you finished third in total tackles on the team at 56. You were second in solo at 47, just behind really Tim Swaney's 48.
Hmm.
Um, you had 4 interceptions, a touchdown. You started all 11 games. You were one of 8 Vikings recognized on the conference team. It's like, man, it really felt like last year as a sophomore was a breakout year for you.
Yeah.
Um, Going into this year, I mean, how do you change those expectations like for yourself or really your kind of your self expectations? Have they pretty much stayed the same? Like, how do you kind of approach this year? Coming off a year like that.
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, like last year I had a good year and stuff, but now it's like, how can I build on from last year, or what can I do to make myself more successful last year? Because now it's like, okay, yeah, I have second team going conference, but now it's like, okay, what can I do to get that first team, or what can I do to like help me in order for me to be a more successful football player? Because we all know that I had a good year last year. So now it's all about how can I build upon that, and how can I help myself, help the team, help the secondary as a whole.
Absolutely. One of the things that on the other conversations I was having yesterday was centered around changes to the clock this year. So the running
Hmm.
clock, you got the 2 minute halves, that it's not stopping after first downs. So, one of the questions I had kind of posed yesterday online was around, um, total plays. How is that impacting this game this year? And are you noticing any impact on the field, whether that's like, does it feel like pace of play, has increased a little bit? Any perspective on that?
Yeah, I feel like every game, every year, the pace of play is gonna like increase. Like the amount of play is gonna have like, I think it's 6 seconds or 4 seconds. the plays, every play, but it's only going to increase from there. And yeah, the clock management, I feel like the biggest part is I always forget this, but the 2 minute warning, they
Hmm.
implemented that like second quarter and fourth quarter, and that's like basically okay. Let's all regroup. Let's all like make sure we're all on the same page. But those two things are like mainly like the two different changes.
Yeah, because as I think about allowing the offense additional time, right? You get out of bounds,
Hmm.
in the old format, right? And or excuse me, gain a first down in bounds, and the clock would stop. Whereas now it's continuing to run, so now the offense is not only battling the clock on the scoreboard, but they're also battling, their 25 seconds to get the snap off. So all that time continues to run off, and it's like, I'm trying to understand just how it's feeling from the game perspective of like, is that putting more pressure on the offense, or is it sometimes on the defense? And I feel like it's shifting in my 5 minutes I thought about this is like I feel like it's really shifting to putting additional pressure on the offense because they're really starting to battle now that overall total time, within the period or
Hmm.
half or game. So, um,
Yeah.
well, let's switch to some non-football stuff. So, it's family weekend, it's homecoming weekend. Do you have or anticipate, a decent amount of family or friends kind of coming down for the game?
Oh yeah, yeah. I anticipate a lot. I think my pretty sure my uncle's coming here. My twin brother, if you didn't know, he's coming here too. And yeah, a lot of family members and friends. I'm looking forward to it.
And it's always a good time. Tailgate's going to be rocking, and all kinds of stuff is going on. So yeah,
Mhm.
I'm purposely getting to Augie at like 8:30 in the morning so I can get a parking spot with everything
Yeah,
going on.
yeah. The
So
parking spots are always needed.
it is. Um, so athletes are a creature of habit, and is there anything that you do particularly to kind of get yourself prepped, for the day? Is it the night before, the morning of? Like, are there things that you just kind of find yourself just constantly, doing to get your mind right for the game?
Yeah, so during like school days or I just focus more on like just making sure I'm good. Like, having some like self talk with myself or just like, reading motivation or just doing like the little things to help me. But during game days, what helps me is music. So I'm like a big music guy. I like to listen to music. I like to just listen to like pump up music. If it's pump up videos, motivational videos, I just like listen to those to help get me ready or help get me in the mode. So like those are just like those things.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I always had things where it's like I had, I got dressed the same way.
Mhm.
I take my wrist the same way, spatted my
Yeah,
cleats up the same way. It didn't really matter. So, um, now back at Oswego East, you were a bit of a hooper. I mean, you played
yeah.
point guard, shooting guard. I was looking on online. It looks like you were like 33-2 your senior year. I think you guys were ranked like eighth in 4A, and that plays folks like Moline, who's local to Augie, Quincy down south. Normal community. I saw UT. I called actually a normal UT game a couple years ago. Um, so did you ever consider, while you were looking at colleges, about being a two-sport athlete and playing basketball?
Um, yeah, kind of. I feel like after like my senior year, because I didn't think I was gonna play football after like my high school days, because I was like, okay, now like I'm a good hooper, I'm a good player, but like now it's like, what do I want to do? Like, what sport do I want to do? And after my senior year, I wasn't really getting looks for basketball. I was getting a lot of looks for football. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna take this football route, but
Mhm.
during college, I'm like, okay, maybe I can play two sport athlete, but I just feel like that would just be a lot of load on me, like a lot. So like I just had to choose one. So it was football.
Well, and really kind of starting this weekend, I mean, is when basketball activities, start to creep up. So that's one that it's tight, because it bumps up to each other. So,
Yeah.
um, did you ever have any memorable high school games or shots or anything you had while you were at Oswego?
One of my memorable games was probably us. It wasn't a memorable game, but probably just us having like a 33-2 record, having the best record in Oswego's history. So that was always good. Probably a memorable game was our Thanksgiving tournament, our second game of the year, when we were down and we came back against a tough Hinsdale Central squad, and we ended up winning that tournament. So that's always good.
Nice, nice, yeah. Now, I was there, so I've coached my son's or helped coach my son's fourth grade basketball team last year, and we had a tournament over there at Pepsi, the PepsiCo Center.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw a number of, Augie players playing a pickup game over there. Um, who would you say are the best hoopers on the football team?
Best hoopers on the football team. Well, I'm gonna put my boy Nate Henry up there.
Yeah?
Only because he did play basketball here at Augie before deciding to switch to football. But I'm gonna put I'm gonna put Ethan Vraybeck, Sean B. Smith, mainly mainly the skilled position players. No no offense to the offensive line people or the defensive line, but mainly the skills players because those are the people that are like athletic and stuff and everything. But you can also put a couple O line and D line up there just for the benefit of the doubt.
All right, all right. Um, so graphic design and computer science, like what made you choose that? As you think about, what is life after football, whenever that looks like. What drove you to those majors?
Yeah, so graphic design, computer science. So when I was a kid, I was always like on computers. I was always like looking online. I'm like, okay, how are the stuff that we wear? How are those designed? So like when I got to college, I started to learn about okay, graphic design is basically about designing stuff and designing what you want in order to impact or influence other people to get you want to like buy them. In computer science, even though computer science is hard, like technology, coding, and all that. I just love like dealing with computers and love doing with coding.
So, have you done any internships yet?
No, not yet. But
Not yet.
I'm looking for an internship probably this summer.
Okay. What do you think that translates like, doing on a kind of career wise? Is there anything in particular that you're maybe looking for or trying to do or in a particular industry?
Yeah, so if I do the graphic design field, if I get like internships in there, I'm gonna like look into more of like design studio jobs, like designing like companies, designing like artifacts, designing like pictures that you can like post up and stuff. But computer science, if I get internship in that, I'm looking like being like kind of like software engineer or like kind of looking like the data analytic field a little bit. So like
Okay.
yeah, stuff.
All right. Well, you do realize I oversee talent acquisition in our operations for H&I. So hey, let me know so then, I can try
Gotcha.
and keep you here local for the summer.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I've been asking everyone this, and this is the last question I have is maybe the most important one. Who has the best tailgate food after the game?
Best tailgate food. There, there's a lot of them. A lot of good food out there, but I'm gonna have to go with my roommate Zion. My roommate Zion, Zion's mom, she made the best tacos out there that I've ever had, and she made a good cake. So I'm gonna have to go with him. But don't get me wrong, everyone's tailgate food that I had, it's good. It's good, but it's
The
probably
tailgate scene, man, it's awesome. Like the community they build, it's a good way to interact with players and family and continue to kind of build that community and hopefully it's just kind of reiterating, right, like why you chose Augie and why folks should always choose Augie at the end of the day. So, well, it's great, man. Well, hey, I appreciate, connecting with me today. It's been a lot of fun to connect and talk with you. And we have a big game coming up on Saturday, so looking forward to that.
hmm
Um, I think we're like 57-4 against North Park, so let's make it 58.
Yeah,
But we got some skill players gonna have to lock down, so
yeah.
should be good. Should be good. Way, thanks again, Darren. It was great talking to you, and I'm sure I'll see you on Saturday.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me.